Hey guys! Are you guys interested in buying yourself some artsy merch? If you go click the link in the description box now, you will be able to get some awesome discounts from 15% up to 50% off. They offer you free shipping as well. So, what are you waiting for? Link in the description.
Why don't you say so? They watch my moves, yeah, do my dance. I'm a skinny little bitch, still shaking ass. And ain't shit free, niggas show me cash. Fuck a broke boy, I been had a bag. I come in first place, I never been last. A bitch act stupid, bitch get trashed.
I'm kind of curious, what is the dumbest thing an American has ever said to you?
Okay, so I'm Canadian, but I went to elementary and middle school in Florida. During my 7th grade geography class, my teacher was doing a presentation on pollution. She showed a bar graph showing a bunch of different countries and how much they contributed to pollution. As you may expect, US and China was way at the top. But there was a piece of the graph showing how little Canada contributed. Me being a Canadian, I had a moment of pride and said, "Woohoo, Canada." To which my teacher responded, "Yeah, but that's because there aren't any cars in Canada, sweetie." And I said, "No, there are cars. My dad has one. We moved here in one. They have streets and highways and everything." And she said, "Sweetie, those are sleds." My geography teacher.
What is the dumbest thing an American has ever said to you?
Excuse me, why do you speak Spanish? Well, a lot of my friends speak Spanish, so I decided to teach myself. It's not hard. You don't look Mexican. I'm not. I'm black. Wait, so you're black and you speak Spanish? And your English seems okay. Yes, black people can learn other languages. I mean, like, I guess, but, like, it doesn't make sense that you speak Spanish if you're not Mexican.
I'm kind of curious, what is the dumbest thing an American has ever said to you?
So I'm travelling in Australia, I'm in a hostel in Brisbane, and there's this American couple. I ask them where they're from, they tell me they're from Alabama. I'm like, "Oh my God, that's amazing, I've never been to America." And they're like, "Oh really? But America's so close to Jamaica." And I'm thinking, what? And I say, "Oh well, I'm not from Jamaica." "Oh well, sure you are, you sound Jamaican to me." And I was like, "Well, I'm actually from Wales." And the girl looks at me, and she starts giving me a glare. I'm like, oh God, what have I said? Like, have I offended them in some way? And they're like, "You can't say you're from a fake country, that is so offensive." And I'm like, "But Wales is a real country." "No, it's not, it's an animal." I'm like, "No, it's a real country. Who do you think Charles is? You know, Queen Elizabeth's son, like he's Prince of Wales." "Oh yeah, he's Prince of the Animals. Everybody knows that he owns all the whales in the world."
I'm kind of curious, what is the dumbest thing an American has ever said to you?
I live in Arizona, and I graduated high school here. But one of my first days in high school, this girl sat next to me in English class. She was like, "Oh, where you from?" And then I tell her I'm from Denmark, and she's like, "Oh, isn't that in Chicago?"
What is the dumbest thing an American has ever said to you?
Alright, so I had an American girlfriend the other day. Expressed that she came to marriage and whatnot. I wasn't interested for multiple reasons, so I thought that we didn't like the way that they state the obvious fact that we're from different countries. So I told her, "You're from America, I'm from Australia, it's probably not going to work." And she had the audacity to say, "It's okay, I can sponsor you." Sponsor? Big what? They don't teach Americans that there's other countries in the world where people are living happily. But all of us are taking that American dream. How can you live in Australia? I'm more civilized than your people, and our spiders are nicer than your people. Why would I want to move to America? Sponsor?
I'm kind of curious, what is the dumbest thing an American has ever said to you?
So I was an exchange student in the US, and I would randomly get asked by questions. And then one time I said I was Asian because Philippines is in Southeast Asia. And then they literally said, "Philippines is in Asia? I thought it was in Europe." Girl. And then one time I was in the bus, I got asked, "Do you have school? Do you have farm animals in the Philippines? Do you know what an iPhone is?" Girl, what do you think of some sort of a different planet? Like, this is why you need to go to school. My God.
I'm kind of curious, what is the dumbest thing an American has ever said to you?
As an American, it is my God-given right to respond to this. We're so goddamn stupid. There's so many things to say. First, when I was 16 years old, I was working my minimum wage job, and someone spent 20 minutes arguing with me and my coworkers that eggs, in fact, had dairy in them. Someone one time told me to go back to the Soviet Union because I have a Russian last name, and when I told them the Soviet Union has been dissolved since about 1989, they said, no it hasn't. Someone once argued with me that they should be allowed to say a word that sounded like a slur, even though it wasn't the slur, it was just another word in the English language, except I'm pretty sure that word is where the slur was derived from. Once I made a dumb blonde joke around someone that dyes their hair blonde, and they genuinely responded with, "Ha, joke's on you, I'm not an actual blonde." Imagine how dumb I'd be if I was. Someone once told me we had 51 states, and when I asked what the 51st state was, they said Mexico?
I'm kind of curious, what is the dumbest thing an American has ever said to you?
Canadian here. Right after I moved to America, I went to the Social Security office so that I could apply for a Social Security number so that I could work in America. I went up to the little kiosk and I punched in that I was applying for my very first Social Security number. And the man who was working there said, "Excuse me, ma'am, you're going to want to punch in that you're applying for a replacement card, not a new number." And I said, "No, sir, I don't have a Social Security number. I am applying for the first time." And he said, "And you're an American?" And I said, "No, sir, I actually just moved here from Canada just a couple of weeks ago." And he said this. "Ma'am, I have to say, your English is amazing." Yeah.
I'm kind of curious, what is the dumbest thing an American has ever said to you?
Okay, so I tell this story like all the fucking time. But basically, I'm from Spain, which is in Europe, for those that don't know. And my senior year of high school, I was a foreign exchange student in Vegas, in Nevada. And I was in my math class, and this girl that was like white, blue eyes, blonde hair. And she comes to me, she's like, she says something like, "Is there a lot of people that look like me in Spain?" So I said, "Yeah, most people look like me, but there are some people that look like you because you're just blonde, blue eyes, like you said." And she was like, "Yeah, because you guys are not white," or some shit like that. And I was like, "I am white, like, hello?" And she was like, "Yeah, but not really white, but there's some white people because you guys were colonized." And I was like, honey, we are the colonizers.
The dumbest thing an American has ever said to you?
I'm American, but I gotta take this L. So freshman year of college, my friends and I go up to Canada to have a fun weekend, whatever. We're partying, having fun. We don't sleep at all, right? We get to the border. I'm in the backseat, knocked, slumped out. Border Patrol knocks on the window. He's asking everyone questions. He comes to me, looks at my passport. "Sir, what's your nationality?" I go, Luis Barbosa. He goes, "No, sir, what's your nationality?" I go, Haitian, Dominican, or Puerto Rican. Choose whichever one. Everyone in the car staring at me like, "Bro, what are you saying right now? You're about to get us arrested." I'm like, what am I saying wrong, right? Everyone's looking at me. So the Border Patrol tries to dumb it down for me. He goes, "Sir, where are you from?" I go, New York City. He goes, "Okay, so what's your nationality?" So now everyone's staring at me and I'm getting tight. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is that? He's looking at me. I'm looking at him. He's looking at me. He goes, "Yeah, you're American. Go right through." Yo, son, thank God we wasn't coming back from Mexico.
I'm kind of curious, what is the dumbest thing an American has ever said to you? Here's one of mine.
How much time you got, motherfucker? I could do this shit all day. I'm going to Florida. Oh, really? Are you driving? Are you flying? I drove and it took me 17 hours. 17 hours? How many days is that? I want to visit Europe. Oh, really? What countries are you visiting? Oh, you know, the basics. No, I don't know. There's no tutorial to visiting countries. Do you mean Italy, France, Spain, Portugal? Stop it. Portugal's not in Europe. It is. However, let's pull up a map. That way we know what countries you would like to visit. Okay, now looking at this map, where would you go? I would go to the Netherlands because it's next to Amsterdam. It is the capital city of the Netherlands. We are looking at a map, god damn it!
I'm kind of curious, what is the dumbest thing an American has ever said to you?
First day of college, psychology class. I meet this girl called Shannon. Shannon. She asks me where I'm from. I say Switzerland. She says, Sweden. I just said Switzerland. She's like, it's because you're blonde, right? Fuck it, I'm just going to play along. Yes, Shannon. Then you can see her trying to relate, but she was probably lying because she had no clue what she was talking about. So Shannon goes, I love Europe. I was in Germany this summer, and it was so nice to see all the history. I'm like, let's call her out. What history, Shannon? I mean, with all the concentration camps and all where the Jews died. I'm like, Shannon, the camps are in Poland. No, but what I meant to say is that I went where Hitler was born. Shannon, Hitler's Austrian. She got so mad. She goes, stop, I'm gonna jump out the window, okay? Shannon, you live on the ground floor. Let me take you to the fucking 7th floor. Do a flip.
I'm curious, what is the dumbest thing an American has ever said to you?
Well, I'm Swiss and Luxembourgish, but I went to the States for university, more specifically Los Angeles, so I had so many of these because people are fucking stupid out there. At least every 2 weeks I'd get asked if I spoke Swedish because I was from Switzerland. Classic. But then, every now and then I'd just be like, fuck it, I might try and say I'm from Luxembourg. Every time I said I'm from Luxembourg.
So, like, where in the UK is that? Where?
Oh, no, it's not in the UK.
Okay, where in Germany? Sorry, my bad.
Not in Germany.
Somewhere else. I don't know where Luxembourg is. Which country is it?
It is its own fucking country. I know we're small, but we're important too, you fucking bitch.
What is the dumbest thing an American has ever said to you?
So my ethnicity is native Russian. It's called Yakut. We live in the far east of Russia. And our physical traits, as you can see, are Asian. I study in the States and this guy asks me, oh, where are you from? And I say, I'm from Russia. And he's like, no, I mean like, where are you from? And I'm like, I'm from Russia, motherfucker. And he's like, okay, then where are your parents from? And I say, imagine, they're from Russia too. And he's like, well, I thought that you were Asian. Fuck a motherfucker твою мака, I am Asian. I don't know how your brain works, but you think if I'm from Russia, I cannot be Asian when I'm clearly am Asian and vice versa? If you studied your geography a little bit, you will know that half of Russia, the biggest country in the world, it's really hard to miss it on the map, is in Asia. You really think that Habib Nurmagomedov's ethnicity is Russian? No, he's Dagestani, which is one of the 100 native Russian ethnicities. So yeah, I'm an Asian with Russian passport, bitch, and I got no ancestors immigrated. Don't mix your history with my history.
I'm kind of curious, what is the dumbest thing an American has ever said to you?
I'd like to buy this 6-pack of beer, please. Cool, I'll just need to see your ID. Here you go. I can't take that. You can't take my passport? It's not a valid form of ID. You gotta have American ID to buy alcohol in America. It's an American passport. It says my birthplace is Tennessee. You gotta get an American passport to come to America. Everybody knows that. You know that, because you have one. That's not true at all. If you're such an American, why can't you just give me your driver's license? Because my wallet got stolen. And even if I did have that, you can take a passport. Let me go ask my manager if she'll make an exception. Hi, what seems to be the problem here? Your cashier won't let me use my passport as identification to buy beer. Yeah, you gotta have an American ID to buy alcohol in America. But that's really cool though. I've never seen a passport before. Where are you from? Here!